Welcome to the Sour Go-to-Market SaaS Takes podcast, where all your favorite SaaS leaders spill their controversial opinions while testing their taste buds. Get ready for sour candy with even sweeter insights.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Jason Hassenberg, and you're tuning into the Sour Go-to-Market SaaS Takes podcast, the show with sour candies and even sour takes. Today, I'm joined by Julia Carter, an account executive at Marpipe and the executive troll queen on LinkedIn. Julia, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been great following you on LinkedIn and looking at your comments. I always get a good laugh, but it's always a laugh with like, wow, that's actually really true. So, are you ready to take the sour plunge today?
I'm so ready. I'm actually so afraid though, because I'm not like a sour candy or gummy person. I'm a chocolate candy person. So I'm really afraid to see how this all goes down, but I'm really excited.
I love to hear that. I'm also a chocolate person, but like I'm like
Here we
that.
are.
Like I get chocolate and sour when I go to the movie theaters, and then I walk out, my stomach's killing me. I'm like, oh wow, that's myself.
I'm so scared.
Let's do it. Sour take number one. We're gonna do 5 sour candies. We're gonna be doing sour Skittles. We're gonna be doing Warhead sour popping candy, aka Pop Rocks that are sour. We're then going to be rolling into sour crybaby tears. We're then going to do Barnett's Mega Sour, a level 40. And
Oh
then
my
we're going
God.
to close it
Level
all off.
40. What does that mean? Level 40.
The first one's a level like 4. The second's a level 10. The third is a level 30. And then 40. And then the last one's going to be Toxic Waste Nuclear Fusion, a level 43. And this is all based off a group of scientists that wanted to study what were the most sour candies. It's called the Pucker Index. You could actually look it up online.
My God, I'm scared though, because it jumps a lot and then it doesn't jump,
Yeah.
which makes me
Those
nervous.
first those last 2 are just brutal.
Oh
So,
my God, I'm
even though
afraid.
I've done them now for 20 times, I'm still like, my God."
Unwell.
Yeah, yeah. Just you got
Awesome.
water next to you, you're all good to go.
Yeah, I got my water, my
Got
big
that
Stanley
Aquafina.
cup.
There we go. Stanley, calling you out here. All right, sour take number 1. Let's try the sour Skittles. Here we
Okay.
go. Mass exporting prospect lists is why you aren't hitting your goals. I am I'm someone who's done this in the past and I haven't hit my goals, so see why this is a sour take.
All
So
right.
yeah, explain it to me.
Honestly, I kind of like this little Skittle situation. But so I think a lot of people just mass export these lists based on very vague criteria. So they're like, people with my title and my region with these vague things, which
Yeah,
like are true, but you need to get a layer deeper,
yeah,
because if you're just mass blasting all these people with like no real motive, no real why, then that's when people will start to like block you. They'll start to be like, this is irrelevant.
yep.
And then also a lot of the meetings that you book, like say someone does book, like honestly, not all of them are going to be qualified. So I think that even though it's an easier route to just like mass export these lists, and also if like it's working for you, sure, do your thing. However, I think that by like cherry picking leads or like at least exporting them with more criteria,
Yeah,
like I'd rather have a smaller A plus list than like a big list of like a bunch of maybes.
yeah,
But I think it's really important to build your lists off of like triggers or reasons why you're reaching out. And even if it takes more time, even if it's more like you have less people, like you'll have more quality people, which will lead to better meetings. And I personally found that having like a smaller, more targeted list like has gotten me to quota, whereas like my peers who just mass export these silly little lists, and they're wondering why they're not getting meetings. I'm like, well, I know why, because your list sucks. What you put in is what you get out. So
yeah.
that's myself.
People, they like to rush the whole data and the list that they right, and then they get in and they start personalizing, like putting all
Yes.
this on the personalization, but they're not setting themselves up for success.
No.
It,
Yeah. Like most of the time should honestly be spent on the list, because if your list is bad, literally everything after is going to be bad. Like I would so much you rather have horrific messaging to the right people than like the horrible people with the right message, you know?
Yeah. And then the thing about having that bad data is like seldomly these people who have there's no relevance there and you're reaching out to them, they're not even going to reply, right? So you don't even know
No.
that your list is that bad until your domain is like, oh shit, like I'm going to spam because everyone's blocked me.
Yeah, like someone the other day literally sent me a cold email about like being an accountant, like me being accountant. I'm like, I'm not an accountant.
Yeah.
I'm an account executive.
Oh no.
But
That
like you know that they just like Googled like accountant, account keywords, and then they did this list, and now it's going to all these random ass tech salespeople who like sell software.
I I have to say I'm guilty of this like 2 years ago when I was like we're hosting an event and I'm like okay I just need to get as many people there as possible.
Totally.
We did it, right? We got people there, but they were the wrong people. And everybody was like, well, this doesn't work out. Everybody like, who are these people? And no one was networking because there was nobody in the room that made sense to be in the room together. So
I know.
just realize the quality of the list is what matters more. So let's get a little bit tactical. Like, how are you thinking about building out your lists? And maybe it's in this job right now you're in, and how are you building these lists out and reaching out?
Yeah, so I think everyone has their own unique way of being able to build these lists because every service or tool or whatever, you have your own reason for why you're reaching out. For some companies, it's really specific. For some companies, it's really vague. Like, you kind of have to just work with what you're working with.
Of course.
But my roommate actually, I think this is a really good example. She works in recruiting and she had this genius like idea. They're finding this like talent development person
Yeah.
for this role. And she was like, you know what? I'm gonna like look at adjunct professors in this industry
Wow.
because they like to teach, they like to, this is their passion, learning and development. And that's like the way you should be thinking about your prospect list. Like for me, I go after advertisers who are selling on paid social. So I look at their ads, I look if they're running the right ad type, and I get really niche with it.
Yeah.
And you have to use these little clues that you get to like derive who your perfect person is.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can like sort of make your list from there. Like I do it very manually. I cherry pick my leads, but if you don't have the time to afford you to do that,
Hmm.
I don't know. There's definitely ways and services out there that can help you kind of gather with these hints. Because if you have a pool of people with good hints,
Yeah.
you're probably hitting the right person.
Are you a big fan of like intent data? Do you use it at all? Or it sounds like you're more kind of going freestyle and you're figuring out what are the best leads for you.
I think intent data, it can be used properly. I've never really had personally luck with it, but I think that a lot of people think all these things are magic pills. Like, oh, intent data, magic pill. Oh my God, intent, like all this stuff. Like you cannot,
True.
nothing is a magic pill. Okay. And I think if it's set up properly, it can totally work. I know so many people have had success with it. Personally, at least for me, like I work at a 10-person startup. Like, who's showing intent? No
Yeah.
one's showing intent to me. I'm not Salesforce. I'm
Yeah.
not Zoom Info. Like there's no intent to be had here. So for me, hasn't been as useful. However, I think it can be to other people.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. That sums up our sour take number one,
That's
Julia.
awesome.
How are you feeling so far?
I really enjoyed the Skittle.
Yeah.
I'm afraid like the warheads I'm kind of excited for. I used to eat warheads in like 7th grade. I'm like, I'm so cool eating warheads.
That's what Melissa Gaglione was talking about. She's like, this isn't even that sour. I used to have warheads all the time when I was younger. I'm like,
Yeah. It was
that's
like a sign that you were cool because you could handle it, you know?
me and my friends never did that. Although I will
What?
say we would get like 12 liters of Coca-Cola and we would just like go ham
Chug
and
it.
yeah, chug it. So
Go
like
to town.
everyone has their own little thing, but that's a
Definitely.
sour take number two, Julia.
All right.
To be doing the warhead popping candy. We both have the blue one. So
Yeah, blue
you
raz.
might have yeah, brush your teeth because your teeth are gonna be blue.
I can't wait. So you just dump it in, I guess.
That's all I'm doing. Here we go.
Oh,
Wow.
oh wow.
Hmm.
This is so fun. Oh,
Sour-
these are really good.
oh yeah, this is like sour take.
Wow, it's like a party in my mouth.
I love it. Yeah, I haven't had
This
Pop
is
Rocks in
great.
forever.
Who invented
So
this?
much fun. Yeah, I don't
What are
know.
the ingredients?
I
How
don't
does
even
it pop?
I don't even want to look at the ingredients.
Wow, this one is so much fun. I'm having such a good time.
Yeah, this is that you could get that on Amazon. I didn't see them in the stores, so like some of these you can get in the store, some you can't. So it just depends.
Wow.
I'll send
Party
you
in my mouth. All right.
sour take number 2. This
Okay.
is a big one. I think it's gonna rub a lot of people the wrong way. LinkedIn branding doesn't really help you that much with your 9 to 5 job.
This is correct. Okay. And there's gonna be all these people who are like, it helped me. It helped me. I think if you are in sales to sales selling,
Yeah.
sure, it can help you there. If you are not in sales to sales selling, this will not help you in your 9 to 5. I'm just telling you right now. There will be no help with getting your prospects. There will be no help with booking meetings. There will be no help with anything with your job. None. However, I mean, if you're sales to sales, I could see it could help there because you're
Yeah.
selling, you're preaching to the choir there.
Mhm.
But yeah, it hasn't helped me at all, but it has helped me in lots of things outside of my 9 to 5, meeting people, making connections, getting a little side hustle money, doing
Yeah.
cool projects like this with you. So I think there's still a lot of value to it, but I wouldn't make a LinkedIn brand because you think you're gonna like book more meetings because like you're not.
Well, and that's like the worst idea to do, right? With the goal of that being like no one's ever gonna receive your post or anything that well if the goal is just to get meetings on the board.
Yeah, and also to that point too, like say this. Okay, you develop your whole LinkedIn brand on selling the sales software. You get laid off. What happens now, buddy?
You're done.
You're done.
You're
Like
absolutely done.
you're done. Like you have nothing to talk about. You have nothing like, So I think if you are doing things on LinkedIn or personal branding, whatever, make it to you. Obviously use your experiences that you learned about, but like this is like a separate entity, this
Yeah.
is a separate project of your life. This is not your job.
Yeah, it's much more about your personal brand here than the brand, the branding for your company. And I get it. There's companies out there that are like, you have to tie back to what we're doing and show our,
Yeah.
but like, you know what? You don't really have to. Like, you could do it
No.
outside your hours. I wonder, I was thinking about this question and I just was wanting to ask you this. Like, you kind of have like a fuck it mentality when you get on there, you're commenting and dropping whatever
Totally.
you believe
Trolling.
that. Yeah. How did you develop that? And like for people out there that are like, and I know a lot of people who are like actually edgy, but like they're not willing to get on LinkedIn and like drop those comments. How did you get to that point where like, you know what, screw it. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Totally. Well, so the LinkedIn, like I really only started doing it about a year and a half ago. And how it happened was I was an SDR at my first SDR job. And I was just like so bored. Like being an SDR gets boring. Like
Yeah.
it is so hamster wheel. Like sales in general is hamster wheel, but SDR, you're literally there's no satisfaction. You book the meeting and then it's done. Like you're over. So I was so bored. We'd be hanging out in the office and we would make these TikToks about how awful being an SDR is. And we'd make memes about like, oh, we brought our lunch because we're SDRs and the AEs are going out to lunch. And like, people are like, when you get no opens and it's like, all that kind of stuff. So then I just started going rogue and posting them on LinkedIn because also in sales, you're on LinkedIn a lot. So I'm like, you know what,
Course.
whatever. And there was no traction, like 0 likes. I had no following, but I was just having a good time. I was just enjoying myself.
Yeah.
Um, and then randomly, this guy named Stefan was like, "Oh, I do this podcast. Do you want to be on it?" And I'm like, "Me?
Wow.
Sure." So then I went on this podcast and then it kind of like blew up a little bit. And then I started getting more things, but I still kept my original, you know,
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah.
Been that way
Of
the whole
course.
time.
That's incredible. Have you always been outgoing in your life and just kind of not caring, just going for it?
Definitely. I also think though, like, I mean, at least being in tech sales, at least in the industry that I'm in, like I'm allowed to do this. I've never run into it with an employer, anyone where they're like, oh, you can't do this. In fact, they honestly like encourage it because,
Yeah.
the name of the company gets more recognized, yada, yada, yada.
Of course.
Um, but yeah, I think just also though being authentic, like people like my LinkedIn has grown so much completely unintentionally because I think they relate people. It's different. There's so many people on this stupid platform saying the same stuff, and no one cares
Yeah.
about the same stuff. Like I'm
It's
bored. I
million.
want,
I'm the CEO. Run a $50
yeah,
million budget. Like,
give me the drama. Like I
uh,
posted a couple of weeks ago on LinkedIn. I was like, I'm so bored. Someone stir the pot. I need the tea. I
yep.
want to see something interesting. So I hope that I bring that to people
I
every day.
thought I think I saw like Will Atkin get like right after I saw that post of you, like a couple days later, Will Atkin
Yeah.
posted of him getting in like a tub for
Yes, with the
Viper, and I'm
chili powder.
that was hilarious. I'm like, I think people were adding you too, and they're like, Julie, what do you think about this one right here?
Yeah,
It's like,
literally, they're like,
let's
I'm like,
let's get after it. Like, let's have a good time. That's why I created this. Like, you don't get to see people in this light and like have a good time. And like, to be honest, some of the people I have on here, they're not comfortable. But by the
yeah,
time they're done, they're like, dude, that was so much fun.
yeah.
Why don't I get out of my skin and do this more often, you know?
Well, it's also fun. Also, if you're genuinely enjoying it, you can keep it up. I think a lot of people say, hey, I'm building my LinkedIn brand this year. I want to get 10,000 followers because this will help me network. And then they have this very specific regimen of when they're posting, when they're commenting, when they're doing this, when they're doing that, because that's what they're told to do. And then they burn out because it's not fun. And you're just like, must make 10 comments, must make one post. And then it's like, also, I'm sorry if you're posting every day, like, what do you? I don't have anything to say every day. Like
I
some
don't
people do, but I don't.
I think it's got to be Chat GPT at this point.
I
I see
know.
it so many times said like, and I'm not against Chat GPT. I use it a lot, but I just don't use
Yeah.
it for my post. And like, it's funny that you said it because I made a post maybe a couple weeks ago, got no traction. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
and it was about how like if I don't want to post on LinkedIn, I just don't post. Like
No.
I don't feel like because there are days where I'm like really extroverted. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get out there, have fun,
Totally.
top it up. But then there are days I'm like, fuck, yeah, I just don't want to. I want to sit in my room, I want to relax, watch TV, and I don't want to be on LinkedIn at all. And it's
No. Yeah.
okay. There are people who trap themselves into this like rat race that you were just talking about. Have you ever? It seems like you've never really even jumped into that. You're like, I'm just gonna be myself, be who I am, and it's worked out in your favor.
Totally. And I think too, though, like the beginning, like the challenge I'm kind of facing now is like when you're growing your LinkedIn, it's so fun. You're like, oh my God, like I'm meeting all these people. And it's like really fun until like 10,000 followers. And then it all changes because now there's a lot of people following you, a lot of eyes on you, a lot of DMs. Like in the beginning, you could DM everyone, you're having a good time,
So true.
like it's so fun, and then it gets to this point where like it's different and you're
Yeah.
expected to engage with everyone like you used to, but now you have like quadruple, quintuple, thousands of more things to attend to. So the thing that I'm trying to do this year is to like get back to where I was in the beginning, where like I was just having so much fun, like posting silly little things I didn't care about, which like I still do. But then as you grow, it gets harder because you have this bigger audience, more people trying to contact you. Then there's also this whole like people are like monetize it. You have this huge audience. Like, how are you going to make money? What are you doing? Side hustle. And then,
Yep.
you get these things. And I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but
No,
it
I
does
love it. I
get
think this is
overwhelming.
incredibly important to talk about because like I was talking to Jared Robin about that and he was just like, yeah, like in the beginning it's fun, but then like I think he has 40K, but like I'm
Wow.
at
Yeah.
9K and I'm just starting to see this now where it's like my DMs are stacked and I don't know. I was asking Morgan Ingram and I'm like, how do you get through this? And his tactic was on Fridays from 4 to 5, he will send out voice notes to everybody. So I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I did it last week and I sent out
Amazing.
maybe 100 in like 30 minutes. And I'm like,
Wow.
it would take me 2 minutes to write up a comment because I'm just overthinking it. So
Yeah.
try that. That might help you, honestly. But like
Yeah.
getting back to what you were just saying, which I think is very important, when you're growing, like there's like two types of audiences then, right? There's the influencers, people who are on the platform that you feel like you have to comment and network with still. And then there's like the newcomers who are coming up, the people who aren't engaging, and like you have to satisfy both. Like how, and I know you're struggling with this, but like how have you done it? Like how do you do that? You just hop on and just comment with whoever?
Yeah, first of all, I love the newcomer people. Like, I just think they bring so much fun newness to the table, which I love. But honestly, I have no agenda with my LinkedIn. There's all these people who have an agenda, a plan. There's no plan in this scheme. So I'll just log on when I log on, and then I'll just see what people are saying. And if I feel compelled, I'll say something.
That's really cool. And
And that's it.
our take 3, is there any like just advice for people that are trying to, and I know because people are loving LinkedIn right now, people want to get on there. Is there any advice you can give someone who's new or a newcomer
Yes.
to hear them?
Totally. So first of all, I recommend it. I think it's great. It's only brought me mostly positives, except for the Reddit and LinkedIn trolls who there's a whole thread on Bravado in the war room about how my voice is incredibly annoying. Just that is the
Really?
thread. And I'm like, really? Like
That's weird. Who are these people and how do they have the time to do that?
I don't know. One of the usernames is like HVAC expert. I'm like, what the fuck is
That
happening?
sucks. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I try not to check. I don't look, but every once in a while, I'm like
Yeah.
seeing what's on the web, which I would
I
recommend.
haven't looked at mine. I don't even want to know. I don't even know if someone's talked about me yet, but if they have, it's probably like this guy's super cheesy. Like,
It's all dumb, and it's
yeah.
like whatever. Like, sorry,
Yeah.
but anyways, if you're new, it's fun. I think the most valuable thing you can do to get started, a lot of people say, just post, just hit post. Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Stupid advice. Comment on people's stuff.
Yes.
Just like engage, see what's out there. And like, honestly, I think my comments are what's gotten me to where I am. It's not what I post, it's the
Mm.
things I engage with people. So comment real things to all sorts of people. Who cares who they are? Engage, vibe. Um, and that's a great start. And you can like, post your little things and try and say something, that you really are passionate about and enjoy and want to spark conversation around. Don't just post it because like you think everyone's talking about it. Like say some good chunks of wisdom.
Seriously.
Um, but yeah, I think comments are how I would get started if I were anyone.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I've seen your comments are like 20 likes. Sometimes they're more than the actual post. I'm like, what is
I
going on?
love to lap people's
Crazy.
posts. That's like my favorite thing.
Ever thought about joining, like doing some comedy? I know you're in New York. Like, you ever think about doing stand up or anything?
No. Okay. Well, so I love the thought of it. I'm like, this is great. But in actuality, I would be horrible. Like, first of all, I like go to bed kind of early. So I cannot withstand these hours of the comedian life. Second of all, I have no jokes to tell. And all my jokes are like tech sales related or like reality TV related. So I don't think I'd be hitting the right audience
Yeah.
there. But it's funny because people on LinkedIn think I'm funny. And if I post the same thing on TikTok, like no one gives a single fuck. They're like, who is this girl? But on LinkedIn, everyone's like, hilarious.
I don't know why. It's just like it's such a weird crowd on LinkedIn. I can't get it. I can't I still don't understand it till this day, and I've been here for 4 years. It's just
Yeah. You just
people,
gotta, yeah,
you
be
just gotta
yourself.
go. Yeah, be yourself. You go to a party, you need to just be yourself. You'll end up finding people who are similar to you, right? Then you're just like,
Totally.
kick it off. Then you go to dinner the next, that night, and all of a sudden you're friends, right? It's the same thing.
Exactly. That's the best way to put it. Just, you'll find your people, and that's all you need to do.
Exactly. All right. Sour take number 3, cry baby tears. You said you
So,
were
like, do
worried
you
about this.
chew this?
Yes, you can chew it. That's what I do. I'm doing all 4, but you do
Oh
all.
God, all four.
Yeah, you can chew it though. That's what I
Okay.
would recommend doing. Sour
Oh
take
God,
number 3. Not a fan?
these are so crunchy.
Yeah, they are. Not that sour though.
No.
Personalizing is usually a waste of time. Oh my God, people are gonna lose
Oh
their.
my God. This is so. Mm, wow. Um, these are sour, and my take is sour.
Well,
Um,
this is sour for you. Just wait.
it's just a lot of crunching, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can hear you in the mic. No, I'm joking.
Mm-hmm. Everyone, listen to my chewing. But yes, okay, so I think there is value, obviously, in tailoring a message to someone. I do not disagree with that.
Yeah.
However, to my point earlier, there's all these people loading up all these random ass people on a freaking cadence. Random people. Then they're going to spend all day long looking up dumb stuff about these people, weaving it into some message, spending 10 minutes, 20 minutes on this stuff, sending the message. And a lot of times, not everyone, but a lot of times people are saying dumb stuff.
Yeah,
They're weaving in hobbies. They're weaving in your school. You're weaving in puns. And like, no, I don't want any of that. And you can stand out by making a compelling observation. All you need is an observation. You can observe and be like, this would be like an example. I could be like, hey, Jason, I saw you just started this podcast. And then you just make there's your observation. You don't need to be like, hey, Jason, I sour you like to eat warheads. My warhead solution is the most sour on the market. Like that needs to leave
corny
this
as hell
industry.
too. Real
Yeah.
corny.
So, and even if it's not corny, it's like, hey, I saw like you're just pointing out dumb shit. But if someone has a real reason, like, yo, I saw you just started this podcast. I have this. Have you tried that? Like, would that be interesting? Like, that's all you need to do to get someone on the hook. And I think people spend too much time writing silly little stupid messages that don't get replies.
Yeah, and I gotta say, this might be the worst type of personalization to me. It's like, hey, I saw you're connected with, and like, yeah, like we might have some, I was wondering if I could get a meeting with you or something. Like, dude,
No.
what?
Also,
No.
LinkedIn, everyone is connected with everyone. Like LinkedIn, if I'm connected with you on LinkedIn, that means quite literally nothing to me. Unless you're like went to my high school or my college or something. Like
Unless you're
otherwise,
right.
yeah, like the amount of times though I have people like, "Oh, I saw you're connected with this person." I'm like, "Who the fuck is that?" Cuz I don't know them. I
What?
don't know who that is.
That's the personalization like. I think we're connected with maybe 400 to 500 people. I don't know. I'm just saying I could grab, and also like if you're gonna use that, you have to go actually connect with that other person and be like, oh, I'm friends with them. Like they said, if this is true, don't make it up. Because I've had people
Yeah, of course.
who are like, yeah, like Jill Rowley told me that you're in the market for this and this. I'm like, dude, no, she didn't. She didn't.
Yeah, literally. So, and even like if you're avoiding like the schools or the connection, I think that a lot of people like aren't quality checking like the prospect and their actual offering and why they're reaching out. And
Yeah.
instead they're relying on this like personalized, tailored message to get them a
Yeah.
meeting. But like you can kind of skip that if you have all the right ingredients. And obviously there's still value in like doing a tailored message, especially if you have a small amount of accounts, like you don't have a lot to work with for the year, you want to like stand out, but you still need to QA. Personalizing isn't going to save you from a bad message. That's
Yeah, it is.
all we're going
Well,
with.
especially if like here's something that I've been thinking about. Especially if like the process is like really, really like transactional, like, okay, I'm gonna reach out to them on LinkedIn 3 days from now after I send this email, and then I'm gonna
Yeah.
count on a post, and it's all like that is not personalized. Like that's not personalizing anything. Just because the messaging is personalized doesn't mean that the tactic is actually personalized, right?
No, definitely not. And yeah, like you can do a lot of things to get people's attention and make them feel like you understand their needs. Like honestly, like I'm the only seller at my company, so I have no bounds on my account list, yada yada. So if you have a small account list, maybe like ignore this strategy. But I just honestly get like all-star list. I mass blast the same message to everyone and I just let it have a good time. And I just
Yeah.
hope and pray that they respond. And honestly, we book a lot of great meetings with our ICP, and that's all I can ask for. But it's because we've got good lists, good relevance, good messaging. If you don't have those three things, personalizing is going to save you. So stop wasting your time, go back to the basics, then you can add it in.
Yeah, and you can't write a good message that's relevant to the right people if you don't know your own product, right? Like I see
No.
countless times SDRs getting brought in and they're expected to go book meetings the first week or second week. And
Yeah.
how are you supposed to book qualified meetings if you don't even know what your product does, right?
No, and I also think it's so unfair because all these SDRs, like you're expecting them to basically fuel your whole company. Like the SDRs are fueling literally everything. And they're not involved on anything. Like they're oftentimes like not involved as much with the AEs. It's like if you don't understand like what you're selling or like how you can reach out better to people, like it's gonna be really hard for them to book good stuff. So you
Yeah.
got to like get them involved and make them feel like they're involved with the process. Cause I remember like at my first SDR job, I didn't even know what like A/B testing was. And we were selling like this testing software. And I'm like, what the fuck is A/B testing? I'm like, we can A/B test this.
Not your fault. You know what I mean? Like
I
they have to train
know.
you. You can't just come in and expect someone just be able to book meetings just because they have a good fiery, bubbly personality. Like that's just not how you may book meetings. It doesn't mean you're booking the right meetings,
Totally. Yeah.
right?
So I think, yeah, back to basics. There's still some value in it, but like it can be a waste of time if you're not booking stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And we didn't talk about this earlier, but you were talking about how like SDRs are kind of put on the back burner. And I was
totally.
just interviewing Daisy Chung from Orem, and she's a director of sales there. And she was just talking about this same exact thing. And she's like, actually, SDRs, sales development should actually have their own like a way separate from the VP of sales. Because the VP of sales, they're focused on driving revenue, whereas SDRs, they're focused on driving, pipeline. So there's just like a difference, and like that's why there's they're put on the back burner because they always the VPs of sales are always going to care more about the AEs, right?
Totally. It's so messed up because I don't know. I think like if the SDRs are booking not enough meetings or bad meetings, then those go to the AE and then no one's closing stuff or the meetings are bad. Like it really all starts like what you put in is what you get out. And obviously, like you want to master each step, but like if the SDRs have bad lists, they have bad messaging, they don't know who they're targeting, then all of that is going to trickle through everything. So SDRs should definitely honestly, they should be paid more. They should
That's sure.
be like treated like royalty because without them, like, you know,
And it's
everyone's toast.
yeah, and even to go off that, like because you're an SDR, or you were an SDR before, like what are some ways for companies to actually like celebrate them that you can think of that would have helped you feel a little bit more motivated and empowered?
Yeah, that's such a good question. Because so I was an SDR, senior SDR, and now an AE, and I've been at large org, startup. So I've kind of seen a lot of things. I think that just like honestly, all the teams I've been on have been like really celebratory of like the little wins and like really trying to enable us with like all the tools we need. But I think just companies in general, just like celebrating, like, going over the top of someone like books a meeting, trying to make like honestly, just having a fun team like makes all the difference because like doing outbound is not fun no matter who you are. So just having fun people to do it with like makes all the difference, especially if everyone's remote, like it's gets really challenging.
Yeah,
So I don't know, make them feel appreciated.
I
Give
like
out an award. I don't know, whatever you want to do.
yeah, just make sure that they're involved. Like they're not the
Yeah.
only time you and I know this because as being like an SDR, I feel like the only time upper management's talking to us is if there's some negative effect, right? You
Yeah,
got to
like book
look at
more
that.
meetings.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
exactly.
know. How about we evaluate the shitty messaging you gave me? Because this email probably worked in 2002 and it's 2024, buddy. Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's funny.
it's totally.
All right. Sour take number 4. Here we go. I'm gonna cheers you on this one.
Cheers. I'm
Cheers.
so scared for this little guy.
You're
Like, I'm actually so scared,
no
Jason.
covering your face because I'm gonna
Okay.
screenshot this.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Sour take number 4.
Oh, I cannot put this on my tongue. Oh my God.
What's brutal? I had someone that was like, it's cutting up my mouth.
Yeah, this hurts.
Sour take number 4. Are you ready to go?
I think so. Oh my God.
OTE is fake as fuck. I added the F, but
Oh my God. Does it get sweet?
mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I think it's fake. So for a few reasons. First of all, your base is guaranteed. Oh, it's getting better now.
Yep. And you can
Okay.
take it out if you want. Up to you.
Okay.
Now that it's sweet.
Now it's sweet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was horrible.
The
That was
sweet
really
covers it up,
sour.
though.
Okay. Anyways, oh my God, it's like still in my mouth. So OTE is fake for many reasons. But first of all, your base is your base. You'll always have that. And most reps, at least in my opinion, should treat your like commission as kind of like a nice little treat. You
Yeah.
shouldn't count on it because you don't know how things are going to go. You can crush it, make a ton of money. You can also not crush it,
Yeah.
not make a ton of money. And I think that there's a lot of roles out there who promise they're like, oh my God, like you're going to make $400,000. And then you make like $100,000, which first of all is great. $100,000,
Yeah.
amazing. However, like I think that people are just given these crazy like packages and incentives, and then like no one's hitting quota. Like I think there's some stat that only like 40% of reps like hit their quota. Like that's like really bad. And I've been at orgs, my first org, I was the only SDR for most quarters to even hit my goal. Like there was one quarter where there were two of us. Like that's not good.
Yeah. There's a lot of variables that go into it too. Like it's not just based on you. That's the issue with the whole OTE. Like you have teammates you're relying on, right? And so like it just when you see that OTE, like, oh, this is great. Like I was in a job that I was like, this is great, you know?
Yeah, you're like, I'm making $80,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then in reality, you're not because
No,
you're not hitting your quota.
no, you're not. And it almost ties back into what we were talking about before, but like the managing situation and like actually being realistic about what numbers you should hit, right?
Yeah, and I think too, there's a lot of problems, at least with like some SDR or like roles specifically, where you only get, comped on like qualified meetings, but like what's a qualified meeting? Like, what does this mean? And there's a lot of variables, but to
Yeah.
that point, like at the end of the day, like sales is you have to treat it like a game. This is like Nintendogs. We have our little Neopets. Like this is
Yep.
whatever Sims world.
I
It's
love
a
Sims
game.
growing up.
Oh, same. I love The Sims. But like it's a little bit of a game, and I think you have to play to the game. And if they're incentivizing you to do certain things, then you need to figure out how you can get those certain things, because you just closing or doing these deals like, the way you're supposed to, if that's not getting you to where you need to go, you need to rethink the game and hack the game, because if you can hack the game, you can win. And most people aren't like thinking creatively like that. They're just like, oh, if I do my tasks and I do this, then I will book this amount of meetings and I will hit my quota. But
Yeah.
there's like a lot more to it.
Yeah. And to go off that point, it almost feels like a lot. And I hate to say this because there's people who I've known who are working extremely hard. They're working 60, 80-hour weeks
I
and they're
know.
still not hitting quota. Whereas like personally for me, I hit quota and I was doing 30 hours of work
Yeah.
because I just figured out, okay, these are the times people are going to reply. These are the times
Yeah.
that, and you just have to like actually dig deeper than just doing your job, right? Showing up, all right, I'm just going to work 9 to 5. It's like, get creative out there.
Totally. And I think too, because there's so many people like spamming stuff, it's hard. But even internally, like for example, at my first SDR job, we were comped on like SQLs, like qualified meetings, which at that job meant the prospect had to go to a demo, which means 3 meetings in. So you have the qualifying call with the SDR, you have the presentation with the AE, and then they have to go to a demo. Like that is insanity. 3 meetings, 15 of those a quarter. And we were booking like a couple meetings a week. So like the odds were low.
Yeah.
However, what I figured out was like, I'm going to pair myself up with these new AEs
Yeah.
who will help me out and determine like a qualified was like a good meeting, not just like going to demo. So I kind of hacked the system a little bit where everyone else was kind of not, I mean, I don't want to say unfairly, but like if they're going to pay you based on this, you need to position yourself so you can
Yes.
get to that point.
Yes.
Same like with even being an AE, like there's money tied, I have to close like say $1 million.
Yeah.
And I've done that. But you have to do it by, all right, like I'm like, okay, if I do this many prospects with this many things, with this many whatever, like I can get there. So you kind of have to like dig a little deep, play the game. But like I kind of just like live my life.
Yeah.
It's not that stressful.
No. Slow down
And
to
I
speed
can
up,
play
right?
the game, you know?
Yeah, just slow down, speed up. And that's you have to actually like sit back and realize this is just and that's another thing. If you're a SDR and AE and you're like super stressed out, people can feel that, right? If you're like
Totally.
really hungry and you're for money, and like people can smell that right away. They're like this person doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard, like it's a really hard balance. And I don't want to discredit anyone who's like,
Yeah,
oh, like I can't just play the game. I can't just do this because of this, which is true.
yeah,
Not everyone can be in that position, but I think if you just look at like where you can make the most money and what you can do to just focus all your efforts there, then that will definitely like be helpful. And over time too, like it tends to get better. Like my first couple years, it was super hard, but now I kind of know like what to do, what not to do.
yeah.
So you learn a lot along the way, and there's going to be a lot of rough patches. My first quarter, I didn't even hit like 40% of my ramp goal. My ramp goal was like five SQLs over 3 months. I think I got like two.
Yeah, I mean, there's the most successful people have been put on a PIP. I can't recall, but I've seen countless posts where people are like, "Yeah, I was put on a PIP my first time."
Oh my God,
It's
pips
Oregon.
though, like
Yeah,
that's just like their evidence to fire you. That is what a
yeah.
pip is.
I hate them. I hate.
Yeah, it's literally just evidence. So when they fire you, they can look at the pip and be like, we're firing you because of this.
Sucks, but well, it's also super stressful. But it's just
So horrible.
whole scene. It.
Yeah, if you get the pip, interview. That's all I can say.
That's funny.
Don't stay and turn it around because it's just evidence to bite you in the ass later.
I know that you became an AE quickly before we hit our sour take number 5. How was that? Like, how was the jump from SDR to AE for you, and what did you do to accomplish that?
Yeah, so I've been really lucky where like my first SDR role, we were leading these horrible qualifying calls, but I was kind of used to like leading a prospect call because of that.
Yeah,
Then when I was a senior SDR, I was like brought in on all these every year I've been SDR, senior SDR, I've been brought in on the calls. So I've always been witnessing it.
yeah.
And my like boss would like sauce me like those horrible inbound leads, that's like so unqualified, but like they're like, "Oh, Julia, you can take
Take
it."
it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like really good practice. I think it's low,
Make,
like
yeah.
nothing's gonna happen. They're not gonna buy anyways. So I think that that's really good to transition, but you definitely need some at bats and you'll fail. Like it took me a while to learn, like, oh, I need to book a next step after the first call because if I don't get it in the calendar, then the deal is dead. It's not
Done.
going anywhere.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a little hard, but I think that if you're an SDR looking to be an AE, like get in there on those calls, see like what steps you need to take to become an AE, and then like get those little at bats. If like you could get some shitty inbounds that you guys are just automatically disqualifying, if you could be like, hey, like I'll talk to them, anything like that would help you.
What about the SDRs who are like being overlooked, who have hit quota? Like heard countless stories.
So
You
many.
do. What do you recommend they do?
It's such a hard position and it's so unique to be in. And I think that more people now than ever, like you just get stuck. Honestly, what I did was I just left the company for a
Yeah.
smaller company. Sometimes smaller companies will take more of a chance on a hungry SDR versus these larger ones.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of like internal politics, like I said, play the game. Like you might be the best SDR, but you might not be the first one promoted. So you gotta play the game and make sure all your bases are covered and obviously not in a fake way, but like make sure you're putting yourself out there. And then also talk with your manager and be like, hey, I really want this SDR, this AE role. How long do you think that'll take? Okay, it takes a year. Great. What are the steps I need to do to get there? Great. Write them all down. Then do them all. Do everything they say. And then in 6 months' time, check in and be like, hey, I did everything like you said I needed to do.
Yeah. Let's get me promoted, right?
Yeah. So, and then if they don't promote you, then leave.
That's our extra sour take. All right.
Yes.
Sour take number 5. Let's wrap this all up. Toxic waste, nuclear fusion,
Oh my
level
God.
43. Here we go.
Oh my God. Like, I can't get any, like, I'm so scared.
It's not bad right away.
Oh my God, I know, but it's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
Oh my
Qual
God. It's
qual
like burning.
qualifying calls.
Oh my God.
It's brutal.
Oh my God. Okay.
You ready to
Keep
go?
going. Yeah, I'm sweating.
I believe me, the first time I did this, I was too. And I've done some days where I've done like 2 or 3 back to back.
Are
My
you
stomach,
okay? Do you have like stomach problems after
oh
this?
yeah, I realized I can't do that anymore. So I had
Yeah.
to tell people, I'm like, hey, we got to reschedule because I
Does it
just,
get bad in the middle?
it has
Okay.
juice in the middle.
Juice?
Has like sour juice in the middle of this one.
Fuck. Okay. Preparing
All
for
right, sour take number 5.
Yes.
Qualifying calls needs to go.
Yes. If you are at an org where the SDRAE is doing some stupid bant situation or like whatever the fuck, where you're like, what is your budget? Are you the authority? That is a horrible buyer experience.
Yeah,
No buyers want to go through that. Like, it just needs to go. If someone's interested, you can do a discovery qualifying thing. And I get why some organizations do it, because maybe your Zoom info, you have thousands of people requesting a demo. You only want to pass the good ones off. But you also need to think about the experience people are having, because the buyer experience is horrible right now. And people don't want to be questioned to like make sure they're worthy enough to like go through the sales cycle. Like, that is just shitty.
yeah. Imagine going to Target and like before you walk in the doors, they're like, "Hey, do you have enough cash to even come and buy anything?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, literally, yeah.
right?
They're like,
Imagine
oh,
if someone did
do
that.
you have the credit card? How much money do you have on your credit
Yeah.
card?
What's your
What
income?
is your pay? Like, why do you need that? Why do you need toothpaste? Like, what do
Right?
you
It would feel weird. We'd all be like, "I'm never coming here again. I'm going somewhere
uh,
else."
yeah, be horrible. So, anyways, that's sort of my 2 cents on that.
Yeah. Well, what's a way to qualify a call in a way that isn't super like salesy? And maybe there isn't a great way, but
Yeah.
how do you handle this to make sure I mean, you could qualify them before the meeting, but
Yeah, I mean, you can like set bound like barriers on like just like inputting fields, and if someone is like they put in that they spend this much and it's not enough, there's ways for them to like get back in.
yeah.
So I think a lot of that should be done before they even speak with people.
Okay.
But if someone is booked like outbound or booked like inbound and they pass through the fields properly, like we should not be doing a double. Like that should have been done before, and you should ask those questions in a nice way on the call if you really need. And also look at their title, like if they like who's the decision maker on this. Like maybe the director signing off, but the manager is going to be the power user and they're the
Yeah.
one who's going to tell the manager to buy it. The
Yeah.
director doesn't give a fuck, you know. But all
What
right.
as we wrap this up, what is like when you jump on a call and you're running through, how does your, calls go? How do they flow? Do you have a certain structure or do you just kind of jump on and let's get after it,
Yes, definitely. I'll usually like, I don't know, we'll chat a little bit. I show them like something relevant to them. I sell advertising software. I show them their ads.
Sure.
I show them how we can like before and after. I do a quick walk through the demo. For reference, we're like a point solution tool. I can do it all in one call.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to show the value. And
Yeah.
then I'll go through pricing, like how much it is, and then I'll schedule a next call with them, basically to put them on a timeline to make a decision. That's like the purpose of the second call.
Wow.
So it's straightforward, but I also don't sell this like all-in-one crazy
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, it's
Simple.
so nice to be here with you, Jason. This is so fun.
Yeah, I had an amazing time, Julia. If we could wrap this all up into, a few sentences for the listeners, what would be that overall takeaway you'd want them to walk away here with?
I think just like slow down and think about your process, quality at every step. Don't skimp on the little steps, and just, be yourself and keep persistent. There's a lot of no's in sales, but you'll get some yeses too.
Julia, thank you so much today for joining the show. For everybody listening, you can find Julia on LinkedIn. Are there any other platforms you're on currently?
Nah, just go on LinkedIn. Find
Cool.
me
Yeah.
there.
Find her on LinkedIn, find her in the comments section, making some of the best comments out there. Julia, again, thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful day and weekend. Hope everyone
Thank you.
listening, subscribe. Awesome. All right.
Thanks for listening to the Sour Go-to-Market SaaS Takes podcast, sponsored by Sales Intel, TAC, The Juice, Rev Genius, and Hockey Stack. More bite-sized content is available on our LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.